Here we go. Hey, how you doing? Here we are. So I know that you are already many already writing in the chat. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that many more will be here with us in a couple of minutes. And I am alone. Pratap is not here, but what the hell is he? Maybe he's under the table. Don't worry, he's gonna come here. He's just waiting behind the scenes. One thing I want to tell you, just to make sure that you guys, we're gonna have a very good opportunity to learn a lot today, okay, from someone else that has an incredible, brilliant career in design. Is listen, okay, listen. I have some questions that are already prepared, all right? We will see and we will listen to him how he's going to answer to those questions. And only after you can start preparing your questions, writing them in the chat. And of course, I will help Pratap in reading some of those, okay? Don't write thousands of questions because we don't have the time to do all that. But don't worry, stick with us because you're going to be very happy. And now, you know what? I think it's the time. The time has come. Let's dive in and let's have our friend Pratap BOSE coming in the show. It's Design Talk Friday. Here we go. Ciao, Pratap. How are you?
Ciao, Luciano. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. So happy to be here. Thank you, Luciano.
Okay, that's great. It's great to see you here. Now you can see that I'm watching straight in the camera, not like before, because as I told you, I have my telephone in front of me. So I'm not watching anymore the monitor, but really what's happening live on YouTube. So I am very glad that you accepted my invitation.
Thank you.
And I think that it's for me, it's an honor to have you here on our show because you and I know that we have a similar path in terms of how we became car designers.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Your career, it's a brilliant career. I follow you since a little bit before the Remote Design Academy in India when we got a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know also, and I read a lot about how many advices you give to all young people, a little bit like I try to do also on my own, to explain to them which is the right way to get a car designer career, the right schools and stuff like that, and what are the good things to do and the things probably it's better not to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? We are 75. That's great. That's my record. That thanks to you. So I would do one thing very simple so that all our viewers, our audience, first of all, guys, come on, let's make a nice clap to our virtual clap to Pratap to introduce your presence in the chat. Okay, your presence, our audience. And I will start with the first question. Okay. So it's going to be, I have a couple, maybe 4 questions, Maxi, okay? And then we will just going around. Thank you, Babu. That's very nice. And then we go around. Bravo, Rishab. I like your clap too. Shubham. Yeah, those are all the people that most of I see on Tuesday and Fridays. As you know, on Tuesday, I sketch over their sketches.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, dear Pratap, I really would love to hear from your own voice how you became a car designer. Talk a little bit about yourself to us.
Oh, wow. So, Luciano, I was born and raised in Bombay, in India. And, during the 70s, of course. And we had very few cars in the country at that point. I mean, forget about a car design industry. There was no car industry, actually. We were dominated by 2 cars, a version of the Morris Oxford and the version of a Fiat 1100. And those were the only 2 cars that we would see around us. But, Bombay is is a city of Bollywood. It's been a city of Bollywood for many, many years, and of course, industry. So every once in a while, you would see what we called a foreign car, a Mercedes, a Impala, even in those days, a Toyota Crown, or very rare, but there were some Audis and BMW. So you would start seeing a few cars, and as the Indian economy opened up, that was really the time where I also got into studying design. And so it kind of happened in a lucky way that the car industry and industry in general started to open up, liberalization, and I got into studying design. I went to a college called National Institute of Design, NID.
NID.
NID, it's in Ahmedabad.
Swarup Roy comes from there. Maybe he's watching us today.
And today, I think there are quite a few NIDs, but in my time, there was only one in Ahmedabad. And, Luciano, at that time, only 30 people would get into NID every year. So it was a very difficult school to get into. I'm sure it's hard even now. Luckily, I got into NID and I started studying design, product design. There was no transportation design or car design education in India in my era. So I started studying product design, and it was a 5-year course. And towards the end of the course, the 4th and 5th year, I chose some projects which were automotive. So here, this is the part I want to actually stress. The first 3 years was really hardcore design, the basics of designs, sketching, drawing, color, composition, the rules of design. And we will touch upon this later, what we call the foundation of design. That was very, very strong for that first 3-4 years. And then I chose some car design programs and projects. I was lucky enough to do that. And that's how I sort of got into car design. When I was in school, I used to draw in my books. In fact, for 1 week, I was asked to stay at home because I was drawing cars in my biology book, and it made my teachers very angry.
I think this is a common thing.
I think this is very common. So, that's how it starts. It starts with this. What is fundamental, Luciano, is passion. And you have to have the passion. And in any field, it's not only car design. You can be a passionate accountant. You can be a passionate musician. But I think that passion was always there for design, for art, for, artistic expression, architecture. For example, before I started understanding that there was a profession of product design, I already knew about architecture because that's such a visible form of design, right? In fact, it's one of the most visible forms of design in our urban environment, architecture. So had I not got into NID, I would have probably studied architecture. But that's the way I sort of got into it. And then, first job was in Piaggio in Italy, where I really learned a lot. For me, I think the biggest schools are actually your jobs, and the best teachers are your senior colleagues. I was sitting next to people who are designing the Vespa, who are designing Gilera, so that was, for me, coming from Bombay, to be exposed in that sort of environment was incredible. Then you learn the importance of the technical people, the marketing. Then you start understanding how design fits in a larger context.
Exactly.
It's not that, it's very important to understand how your product is engineered, how it's sold, how it's communicated. All of that started to come in. I did, however, feel a lack, Luciano, not in terms of design challenge. I love doing Vespas, Piaggios, Gileras, but I always wanted to do cars. But I realized that I needed a very specific car design education. It wasn't enough to just be an industrial or product designer. So at that point, I actually left Piaggio and I got a scholarship, luckily. And I then studied 2 years in Royal College in London, where I specialized in vehicle design. It was called vehicle design in those days. And, again, the exposure to, there used to be about 15 people in the course. So the exposure to people from all over the world not only in car design, but in the larger college. There were about 400 people per year in the college, textiles, fashion, you name it, jewelry,
Yeah, I
glass.
know. Royal College is one of the pioneer design schools in all Europe to have been for many years the real top school, contending the place worldwide to art center in USA and CCS.
That's right. So, so again, to be in that environment was a huge learning for me. Even though I had worked, 3.5 years in Piaggio as a professional, but it opened my world even more. And that sort of exposure, the talent, the pure talent that some people had on the course, and of course in the college was shocking. It was so high level. And for me, I was a product designer who didn't know actually how to draw a car really, in the way that some of these guys could. Because don't forget, RCA is a pure master's college. That means
Yeah,
everyone has got a bachelor's in design before they come to RCA. So
exactly.
so many people were from UMEA or Coventry University, or from Germany or from Strat. They had already done the bachelor's in car design, and then they came to do the masters. And I went at that level, to sort of compete at that level, and it taught me a lot. It taught me how much harder I needed to work, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, I got the job in Japan, and that's the rest, as they say, is history. But the education in design was fundamental. The 5 years at NID and the 2 years in RCA. Of
So
course,
this is I think Pratap, it's a beautiful story. It's not very different from mine. It's You did those 5 plus 2.
yeah,
In America, I did 6 years because some of my studies were not recognized in America because of different type of school system, and therefore I had to take first a general education diploma before getting to art center full time. So I was doing general education diploma at Pasadena City College, and then in the evening art center at night to start already
yeah,
understanding. So I was going to both schools, and then of course when I completed the education diploma, my mini entry portfolio was already accepted, my waiting list finished, completed, and therefore I could get into as a full-time student. And then I went to Fiat with Mr. Bengal, with Chris for the
of
first
course.
couple of about 2 3 years before he left for BMW.
Ah,
And
yeah.
anyway, it's very interesting for all of you guys to listen to this just interesting introduction to understand that when I talk about plan your car design, your school path, that's what it means. It means that you have to use your head. You have to understand that if you want to become a doctor, you will work around studies that will take you closer and closer to
Correct.
medicine and to health and stuff like that. In our case, which is design, mainly car design, Pratap started with the product design. I am sure that you started with product design because that's what was offered. If there was
Correct.
transportation design at NID at that time, you would have probably chosen directly NID transportation
Absolutely.
design.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the good thing is that you want to become a car designer, then since the age of 17, 18, you have to start thinking which are the right steps in order to get to accomplish your mission, your goal, to be a car designer or to get at least a bachelor or a master in car design. Now, about the masters, we will talk a little bit later.
Yeah.
I'm reading a lots of those comments that are coming, and most of your comments, guys, don't worry because we're gonna treat them in the second part of the questions. Because what I read, it's a ciao Andrea from Puglia, Andrew 700.
Andrew 700.
Yeah.
Pugliese.
Okay, so thank you very much for this first very nice introduction. But now I have another question for you because sometimes, as you know, I have been teaching for 11 years.
Yes.
Art Center Europe, 4 years, and then the rest was in Italy with the IAD, and then Institute of Open Design was where I
I
was also chair, which means that I wrote the program. I had the first Italian Indian class from an engineering university that came. They were 24. And it was the first time in Italy, in Torino, that we had those engineers that had to be studied, that had to study car design, sponsored by an Indian company. I'm not sure that was Tata or not, but this was in 1996, I think.
Wow.
Anyway, so the question is this one. I feel like there is a big difference between the way we both studied at school, the program, the competition feeling, the teachers we had that were very demanding, the all-nighters, white nights because we couldn't sleep to complete our models, the long classes to do theory, practice, sketching, and therefore I tell you the truth, I'm sure for you was the same. There was no really social life. We were completely full immersion in our duty, in our homework, in our responsibility, a responsible behavior to accomplish our mission, which was get that diploma, get that bachelor, and move on. So today, I feel like design schools, not all design schools. To me, there are 3, 4, 5 that I know that are always on top of my classmates. Okay, that I think they are still doing the right things. But there are lots of other schools, and there are so many more schools compared back to our times that it looks like since technology like Photoshop, Procreate, digital art, digital thing, it came in just accessible to everybody. Today on an iPad Pro for 800 euros, we can have what was impossible 10 years ago for a normal designer to get Photoshop and pay the license. You know how expensive it is. So basically today everybody prefer to get a shortcut, sketch a little bit, a few lines with a pen or a pencil, and then go straight to digital. And then we see lots of production, in my opinion, an overproduction of digital art, but it is not really quite matching a certain quality of when we were making our freehand renderings, like some of the things I have behind me. So the question is, the $1 million question is, how do you feel about design schools today? You are a man that has to hire people, that is talent scout, you're watching around, you talk to young people. I know, just like I try to do in my small reality, we always put our nose left and right to understand how feels the thing, how it feels for you.
Yeah, so Luciano, you're very, very right. I mean, in our time, when you're drawing on paper, on Canson paper, I think a lot of people don't even know what Canson paper is.
I made a few demos on that.
So, or on a sort of tracing sheet or marker paper, when you were drawing with a pen or with a marker, there was no Control Z. You could not go back any step. So you made a mistake, you had to throw the drawing away and start again. And
Yes.
like you said, sometimes you're working for 2 or 3 hours on a rendering, and in the last minute you can make a fatal error which you can't replace.
The coffee thing, the coffee spot. It's a classic.
Yeah. So I think that forced us to sort of think before putting anything down on paper.
Yes.
So I think that was one of the differences I see. Of course, spontaneity is very, very good, but there's also, after that spontaneous, let's say, brainstorm, there is a period where you have to be very disciplined. And in Italy, for example, especially in Italy, car design was born from architecture. A lot of the great car designers are actually architects. Manzoni.
It's true.
You can talk about Manzoni, Gandini, Giugiaro. They all had an architectural training. And when they used to draft the cars, it used to be in the classic 4 views. And each of the views used to talk to each other, on a drafter. So there was a discipline of design, which is part of the medium you use, because the medium is not easy to change. So if you're, for example, if you're Leonardo and you're or Michelangelo and you're carving in marble, it's very different from carving in clay, because you make one mistake and the nose breaks off, and then you have to start the sculpture again. So I think the thinking before doing was the big difference I see. I see today many portfolios, many sketches where I know the person has been led by the medium and not controlled by the medium.
Exactly. I have the same feeling.
So what I anyway feel, Luciano, is if someone does a biro sketch or pencil or does a very polished Photoshop, there are two or three things which are very important. One is, of course, the proportion of the car. The proportions you can't hide. You can do whatever Photoshop you want. Poor proportion is poor proportion. And the second, which is very important, which I look for specifically in designers that we hire straight from school or from other companies when they apply to us, is taste, what we call gusto. Taste is super important. You have to have, as a designer, you have to have a certain minimum level of taste. It's not only about the skill of drawing something. It's also what you draw, how you represent it, how it looks, the colors you use, the way you represent the details. So we always say proportion, surface, detail. That's how you break down a car. You start with proportion, you go to surface, and then you go to detail. At every level, that object has to work. You can't say, oh, I made such incredible details, and then you zoom out, it's a terrible proportion. So it's very important that students don't get carried away by software. In fact, a lot of people ask me, what is the best software for design?
Same thing here.
So I say the best software is between your 2 ears. It's called your brain.
Yeah.
You cannot replace that software. Even, any practicing designer will know that sometimes when you're talking to an engineer, you're talking to a clay modeler, you just have a pen and a paper and you draw a section, or you draw a shape which people can't understand. That power of the pen connected to your brain is very, very important. And you can have any computer in the world, if you don't have that skill to represent what's in your head very simply on a piece of paper, then I think you're in trouble. So a lot of people say, sir, I know Photoshop, I know this 3D, I know that 3D, so I can become a car designer. I say no. I may know how an X-ray machine works, but it doesn't make me a doctor. So just knowing how something works or how you can operate it doesn't make you a professional in that field. So just watch out that don't be misled too much by software and all of that. Luciano, for example, draws directly on the paper when he interacts with you all on Tuesday or whenever it is. There's no better way of doing that. Of course, once you've got it right, you can then take it to Photoshop, you can enhance it, you can do lots of things. But the best software is the brain in your head.
In fact, thanks for your answer, because it clarifies a lot to everybody. And it was very nice, the comment from Damien Hans. Damien, where is he? I saw it before. Yeah, Damien Hans, that says a software is just an alternative tool. Bravo, Damien. You got it today. It's a tool. It's just a tool. That means that if you don't know how to use tools already, if you go to digital tool without knowing how to use the normal tool, you will never make it. It will be even more frustrating, okay? So, Eshan, 50 years old. Eshan, that's a great day for you here, okay? Listen very carefully what we talk about here, because it's going to be a great lesson for you for your next future. Okay, so basically, what I want to say is that the feeling is that there is some sort of compliances, some sort of how can I say, when it's like some design schools say, you know what, to make sure that we get a beautiful website, image page, so that everybody can click and enroll in our school, we just put beautiful Photoshop pictures, and then that's what we're gonna sell. It's gonna work. Everybody's fan of Photoshop. Designers on auto design publications, they are all, everything is Photoshop, and missing the most important part, that there is a lot of work that is done at the very beginning starting from the brainstorming stage, so the very first part of a design process, that is all by hand. It's all by hand. And therefore, if you don't know how to do that, you will never access to be chosen to do anything else, and therefore you cannot be a designer. Okay, so thanks. And then I want also to ask you another question, because now we are talking a little bit about design schools, a bachelor program, which is fundamentals if you want to become a car designer. It's 3 years. In some other schools, it's 4. And in some other schools, it's 5 years. So it depends which school you choose. In my opinion, 4 years is enough if you do a real nice full immersion in a very good school. Okay? But anyway, we talked about the bachelor. Now I'm gonna make you a question that from which I will just say 3 words and then I let you speak, okay? Because I will not add anything else. And you guys are pretty. I pray you know, to be very careful. All of you, you that are there, we looking at us and writing your chat. So the master drama, dear Pratap.
So, even Luciano, even as you were asking, there's so many questions here. Should I do B.Tech? Should I do M.Tech?
Exactly.
And I get this question every day. Believe me, on all my social media feeds, be it Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, a lot of you ask me, and I had actually made a comment about this a few weeks ago, that the guidance in schools and colleges is still very, very poor about design as a route of design as a career in general. So what the mistake that many, many people do is that if they have this real interest, passion, emotion, desire to become a car designer, because they don't know about it or somehow haven't found out, they already go into a tech, let's say, an engineering route, so B.Tech or whatever, M.Tech. And then they say, oh, I'll do a master's in car design in 18 months and I should be fine. If you are exceptionally artistically talented, and I mean exceptionally, you have to be at the level of someone like, we were saying earlier, Flavio Manzoni of Ferrari. You have to be at that.
It's a beautiful exception.
Yeah, if you're exceptionally talented, then yes, maybe after B.Tech, you can do a MDes in transport design, maybe. But like I said, 18 months, in my view, if you've had no artistic education or background, is a very, very short time to learn about design in the first place, let alone car design. Car design is one step below, I would say, aerospace. Designing planes and spaceships is really the ultimate of engineering. But in terms of complexity, automotive is just a step below that. And I think car design is not just a few, sketches that you manage to do in 18 months. Like I said earlier, it's about taste, it's about perception, it's about quality, it's about many, many things which you will find it hard to learn in 18 months, regardless of what the school tells you. So my feeling is that if you really can get into one of the design schools, like Luciano was mentioning, in every country there are 2 or 3 really good schools. You should do that as soon as possible, rather than going down a route of engineering and then trying to come into car design. So my answer always is that if it's too late for you, then please be a brilliant engineer. Be a brilliant automotive engineer rather than a very poor car designer. Because don't forget, you will do this for just about 18 months, if that, without any background, like I said. And when you come out to graduate and you're looking for a job, you will be competing with the guys Luciano just talked about, who would have done 4 years of design and car design already. So many of the bachelor students you will be competing against. And believe me, Luciano, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would guess that in the world today, automotive world, real fresh car design jobs are probably 100 to 200 a year maximum.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
I think in India, it'll probably be 10 jobs, 10 to 12 maximum in a year, new jobs for fresh designers. So you are competing for those jobs. And in many cases, because of lots of types of different restrictions, work permits in USA or Europe or whatever it is, you don't even have a chance to apply for some of the jobs beyond your own sort of geography. So so go into this with your eyes open. I'm saying it again. If you are already in the fourth year of your BTech, studying mechanical engineering, automotive engineering, become the best engineer there is, because I think the role of engineering in great automotive products is very important as well. Not everyone can design a car, and not every designer can engineer a car.
Exactly.
So if you have that passion for engineering and you're already in there, please stick to that. Unless, like I said, you are exceptionally talented, and that exceptional talent, someone like Flavio Manzoni, is probably once in 50 years comes around. So please, regardless of what the design colleges tell you, I think if you've not got a background in architecture or in some sort of product design or design field, I don't think a master's, 18-month master's in car design is enough to make you a professional car designer. So
I
that's my view.
Yeah, no, I would like also to add to your what you said. That it's the same thing I say. So I totally agree 100%. And those people that have the pleasure to follow me and the patience to follow me, they know. But there's one thing that we have also, I think, to say that master programs are important programs. But the master program, it becomes extremely important for those people that come from architecture and want to extend their know-how deeper into design, whether it's product or car design or other design fields.
Yeah.
Or people that do, like in your case,
In my
case is
case.
exactly perfect. Industrial design, master in car design, you're a car designer because you come from industrial design. It's so simple, so clear, So this is something we have to say, because the schools that have a master program, that offer master program, there are many, almost
Many,
every school today.
many.
They're doing a great job. I mean, if I talk about, I don't know, Art Center or CCS or SPD Milano, YAD and YED in Torino, for those that I know well, or Umeå University in Sweden, which is an excellent school where you do a master's, you really have something to add to your knowledge as a designer or as an architect.
Architect. Yeah.
Okay? And then in that case, it's a real plus. It's really something that can boost you, can help your career to move on, just like people that go to a business administration university and then they go to famous master programs of those
Yeah.
famous schools in America, or here in France, next to my village, there is another village where there is a very famous economic study school where
In
they
Seattle.
get masters, all the most important people of France. They all come here, and it's very expensive. So you have to understand, guys, that because you spend money with a master, because you spend money with a bachelor, it's very different scenario from public school, where of course you are probably in your same town, or even if you go in another town, it's still in your country, and lots of difficulties or things to overcome are a lot easier. But there is also another aspect, Pratap, that maybe you can comment also, that this is happening in India, but it's happening in Italy too. I can assure you, because I still find situations like those where parents say, no, you go first to a secure thing that is architecture or engineering, because I know it's like a doctor or a lawyer, and then we will see whether you can go to do the artistic thing with the wheels, whatever you want to do. So there is this missing, this lack of, I think, communication today still, and this is very sad, between the school institution in design, the student that
The parents.
aspiring student, and the parents. That's why I say always, you have to take your parents with you before they say no. They have to see, they have to watch, they have to understand, because it's going to be an investment on you for your future. It's not just to spend money. And therefore, if a school or a professional, they will say that, just like it happened to me, you have all the right cards to pursue this career, and we suggest you this school or the other school, then in that case, a father that can, of course, afford to do that, to make that effort, not just sentimental, because your son or your daughter will go away for a while, but also economical, it's gonna think twice before saying no, because I understand there is a serious program for a real profession. Okay,
Yeah.
and then there is another thing that Gleb said something before. I'm running personal statement. Let's see what it will write about it. Just a second, because I saw something
Can
that
I get to car design, product design,
can I
BA,
get
and foundation?
to brother? Yeah, Gleb. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes.
So you said, can I be from product design? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes, I told you.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Gleb, and others. Why are Luciano and I saying that you can do a master's if you've got a bachelor's in product design, in industrial design, in furniture design, in architecture? Because when you do a bachelor's, the first year and a half, you are doing the foundation programs. That means you're learning how to draw a circle, a cube. You're learning to appreciate proportions of a human being, color, composition, all the basics of design. Without the basics of design, how can you get to become a master? It's
Exactly.
impossible to understand. So it's how it is. It's like any language. If you don't know what the alphabets mean, how can you read and write in that language? Right? So design, we always say, is a language. It's a visual language. So if you don't know the visual tools, if you don't know the visual words, how can you write the language?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So Gleb, you're absolutely fine. Product design, BA, foundation, absolutely no problem at all, because you will know those basics of design, and then it becomes about, like Luciano said earlier, it becomes about an added layer that it's then focused on cars. It could be focused on anything else, depending on the masters you do. But you know the basics by then. So please, I mean, all the students of engineering and MBA and whatever else you're studying, nothing wrong with that. But please, if you are going to switch to design, to car design at that master's level, paying the kind of money that it costs today to study anywhere in the world, go into it with your eyes open. Please believe me.
Okay, that's great. Another thing that I also wanted to say, according to what we're talking about, also because I'm reading kind of fast some of the chat, and some of them said, some people say portfolio interviews. We're gonna talk about this also very soon. Don't worry, guys. Just wait, because I really made 3-4 questions, and I shared them, of course, with Pratap, so that we can touch a little bit the hot spot of our main topics. Okay, so now there is another thing I'd like to ask you, and this is also something we were talking before, and it's not just with you, also with other people. Also, my ex big boss in Renault said we had to find a way to involve more women into car design. The girls. I don't know if today we have girls.
Are there any girls on
Some
the
girls that are watching my stuff, but it's true that it's kind of rare. I don't know if Jessica is with us. She's one of my students, aficionados from Germany. She lives in UK, in London. So maybe you can hire her. She's there, ready. Anyway, the ladies. In Renault, we have a great chance. We have several. They are very talented, and we are all very happy to share, projects, work together in team and stuff, and exchange with them. What about your experience with designers? Is still too much of a man thing, or you had I don't know, you gone to school, you had the opportunity?
No, Luciano, you're absolutely right. Very much a man thing. In fact, in my year of RCA, I told you we were about 15 students. Only one was a girl. One was a girl in my year, and we had another girl in the next year above us. So out of 35 students in that masters, there were only two girls, doing car design. And even now, I interview, I meet people, I look for fresh talent. There's very few girls coming through, and this, I think, has got a slight historical or social context. Maybe they're conditioned, or boys and girls are conditioned to think in a certain way, which then puts them in a certain stream. So many girls, for example, of course, study textile design, painting, architecture, and then through that route they come into car design
Or industrial design.
as color, material, and finish designers. Of course,
Yeah.
that's a fundamental part of car design. It's one of the three pillars of car design: exterior, interior, and CMF. But in the exterior and interior design, the product design part, we find very few portfolios, very few people coming through. And I find that really sad, because I think a good product is one which can synthesize many points of view. Because look, we don't only sell to men, we sell to men, women, we sell to a large audience. So the voice of a woman designer, in many cases, we are unable to capture or include in many of our products in the car industry. And I really wish, through right from school and from society and the way we condition our kids, I hope that changes. I really do, because there's many aspects of car design which I think would have been better had it had a voice or at least a point of view of a woman.
I agree. My experience with my colleagues that are ladies, I think that the projects were richer, because that there are different point of view. They analyzing a different way, and for those that have a very good creativity, it comes out most of the times some really interesting alternatives that
Yes, that you
Yeah.
want to think of. Yeah,
exactly. And so that gives a lot extra to the project, and it's richness,
richer outcome. Yeah,
a richer outcome. Exactly.
yeah.
We are still talking about mechanical engineering degree, worked as a junior product designer for any year in startup. Somebody said before, so I read, if you are a designer in vehicle design, on other fields, like maybe companies that are on the side, and you want to enter into the mainstream, is this possible? What do we answer?
No, so I didn't actually understand the question. Can you repeat?
The guy that wrote this before, I forgot his name, says, but if we have a person, okay, that is a vehicle designer, but that is doing exercise in the profession of designer in a sideway company, something that is not that big, not real car design stuff, and then he wants to get into the mainstream as a car designer, does he have or she has the opportunity to get in?
Yeah. I would say very much so. Luciano, we have many people who apply, who after finishing their car design degree, they actually maybe in that year they don't get a job in the car in an OEM studio. So many of them go to either smaller sort of consultants. Many of them go to tier 1 supplier studios. So for example, headlamp design, it's a design field in itself. It's not just headlamp, tail lamp, HMI, all of this. And then I've seen that many of them find their way into an OEM studio through that route as well. So I wouldn't close the door to that. I think finally it's about the talent that someone possesses. It may be a very specific focused area, but believe me, those focused areas are important. Today, if you looked at any car's headlamp unit or tail lamp unit, that is a full product design project in itself. It's got every aspect of design that you can think of, technical, manufacturing, legal, optics, aesthetics, manufacturability, you name it. Just look at a headlamp of any car,
If you look at the Audi front headlamp, there are over 150 parts. I know because I studied that.
So some of the components themselves have become sort of design projects within the car industry, and you'll see now many OEMs again, correct me if I'm wrong, Luciano, but many OEMs actually advertise for specifically lighting designers or
Yes.
specifically, component designers, because they're very, very complex, pieces of product design in themselves. So there is a route in, definitely.
So there is a question of one of our followers that was just I just read, and also I wanted to ask you. So I take advantage. I learn. I take that question.
Good.
Is do you think that today design schools in general, compared to the real transportation designer market, are pumping too many students per year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. I said this earlier, Luciano, I think there are probably 150, 200 fresh jobs being created. If that, I'm taking a sort of wild guess, but I don't think there are more than 200, serious OEM jobs that are being created per year in design. And by far, there are more students than that. By far. I
Okay.
mean,
I feel the same, because when I remember that when I was in school we were 19 and we ended up in 15 the last year. And
mm,
and now I know that some other schools that they have 60 people.
60, 80 people,
Yeah,
there are
double language. They looks like, hey, come on, come here. In my opinion, this is the part which is, of course, I understand everybody has the business to make. I can understand that, but the question is, if we insist in putting so many students per year, how many sad and unhappy people as a design school institution are we creating? Because in my opinion, there was one important person from an Italian design school many years ago that one day told me, Luciano, you're wrong, because we must give to everybody at least one chance to make it. And I said, no, you have to select those that deserve to make that type of to get that type of chance.
yeah,
And
because
they're always complaining each other's.
no, because otherwise you're just delaying the disappointment. It's better to delay the disappointment before they start school than to give them the same disappointment 4 years later. When they're not
Exactly.
on the job and they've not studied something else that they could have done. So I think there's a duty that schools also have to be very, very choosy about who they put in car design. I think other fields, yes, maybe there are more jobs being created, product design, service design, human factors, HMI, UI, UX. I think there's huge number of jobs being created there. But car design is not really that much, to support the kind of output that's coming. And look, it's good for people like us who are in the industry and who are in companies, because we can get to choose amongst many, many, many people. But I look at it from the other side. A student applying, your portfolio will be one in 300 that reaches my desk or Luciano's desk, in a month. So
Exactly.
so to be spotted and to be and I will probably have maximum of 2 minutes to look through, maximum, if that. So you have just that small window to make a impression, and then it's gone. It goes to the bottom of the pile, and then the pile starts piling up with the new applications that are coming. This is today, it's sort of graduation time, I think, in
But
many
in
colleges.
fact, that's what I explain many times, is that you got to have in your portfolio that little thing that will make that page stop.
Yeah,
If you get that hook, if you have it, then you have done something exceptional.
exceptional.
If you
Yeah.
don't, it's gonna be just like, all the pages will go. You don't find anything new. You throw it
Out.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You forgot it. And because you already went through that record, if you apply again, I'm not gonna waste the time to watch again, because you already applied once. You were discarded already once. I'm not gonna go back and say I'm the good Samaritan. I'm gonna give I no, because I am. It's a business, and in the business we have to be very, very careful when we hire people. It's almost like a marriage, because
Yeah.
there is the law, there's the human aspect, the feelings, the professional. There are so many things that get into hiring a person,
Yeah.
whether it's a girl or a man, that You cannot just, when you're a teacher, yeah, of course, I can give another chance. I can help you out, no problem. But then arrives a moment where you are really on your own. And according to this, because we get into the portfolio thing, I know I already taught to the guys and the girls, be careful, because when we have to hire somebody, that's what's gonna happen. Therefore, my advices are this, my tips. There are several videos I made how not to, what not to do, what to do, and how to do stuff. But the question for you, and then it would be very, very nice to listen from with our ears from your mouth, is when you hire, because I'm sure you look for people, it's normal, it's a good thing. What do you look? You have this person that gets there with the portfolio, and you somehow the portfolio got the first selection. Okay, so you organize. You say to your assistant, "Let's organize a meeting. We have to go farther with this person."
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen? What are you looking for? What is a turn on and what is a turn off?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, Luciano. The point at which we are already seeing someone face to face means that the technical skills of design are fine. That guy knows how to draw. He knows how to create a compelling portfolio. He knows all the skills. So that's not what we are looking at, because that's already done. That's already in level one. The fact that he's in front of me or front of us means that we are assessing some other things. We are assessing some human qualities.
Yeah.
Does he or she fit in a team? You have huge teams in the automotive world today, not just within design but even outside: engineering, marketing, product planning, finance, manufacturing. There's many disciplines that you have to interact with as a designer. So will this person be able to be that sort of team player? So personality becomes very important. The attitude to contribute to a project, to go beyond what sometimes I may ask for. I may ask for a certain alternative, but is the person proactive to create something else that maybe even I didn't see, or the chief designer didn't spot or ask for? So this attitude of being proactive, of truly falling in love with the job. Will this person be the ambassador for the brand? Because each designer, when you go out into the world, you are a reflection of the company, actually, each employee. So
exactly, it's true. Ambassador.
Yeah, you're the ambassador of that company, right? When I stand somewhere, I'm representing my company. So it's the same for all of us.
Yes.
So does the person's personal ethics match that of the company? So many a times, Luciano, we have chosen, let's say the skill levels are similar. We always choose a person for their personality. What do they bring? Can they smile? Can they laugh? Can they make others feel good? Are they humble? Humility is very important in life. Forget about just design. Are they humble about their own where they are today? Are they hungry to grow? Are they ambitious? Are they empathetic? Can they understand the pain that some customers may feel? So these are the human aspects which are very difficult to obviously see in a portfolio. And this is why we put people face to face in front of us. We really want to gauge the kind of person who is behind these amazing sketches and drawings and stories. Is he or she a storyteller? How do they present their life? How do they present their work? Because you're in many situations in design, you will be presenting to somebody, your own colleagues, and
we always do.
Yeah, then you go a little more senior, it'll be your chief designer or your team leader, and then after that you go more senior, it becomes the studio chief. Then you become the studio chief, you start presenting to the head of design or the chief design officer. Then you become that, then you start presenting to the board of the company. So at every level you're saying a story. And in the interview, then I want to know what story this person has to tell about himself, herself, and the work. how they say it, what they say, and that tells you a lot about the person.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that you are very, very clear. I'm sure that Pino Cazzetta is a very good friend of mine from France, Italo,
Pino
half
Cazzetta.
Italian.
Okay.
Pino is also a teacher. Huh? He's an industrial designer and car designer, also passionate about cars.
Ciao, Pino.
And he follows me since I went one time in Valenciennes in Rubica school to make a few. They invited me. I was very happy to participate a couple of times, and then from them, thanks to them, I met the Indian management of Rubica India at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know him. That now he's in Bangalore with the Strat Bangalore, the school, the French school in there.
Yeah.
Ciao, Pino. Okay, so I think that all this is very nice, but I am sure that our followers are a little bit curious to know, when you see a portfolio, other than the human aspect, what is really good thing, what is a bad thing, what is a so-so thing, so that they can think when they draw, when they prepare their projects, maybe there will come out some tips very useful for them.
I think the very important part of a portfolio is the projects you choose. So always choose quality over quantity, first of all. Like we said,
Note that quality versus quantity.
It's very, very important. So the quality of what you put into your portfolio should be, absolutely, you have to be ruthless about it. Don't fall in love with your own projects. This is, like Luciano said, you are presenting yourself to get married to a company. You don't say, you say the best things about yourself, right? On a networking platform. What do you say? You don't say, I have a pain in my left toe. You always talk about what's the most strong part of your personality. The portfolio is the same thing. Remember, the portfolio does the job of talking for you. So do the least. So choose the best projects. Don't worry about what your friend said, what you did in the first year was amazing. No, choose your best projects, choose few, and choose a range. Choose a range that talks about your own let's say diversity of thinking. Can you do a motorbike? Can you do a car? Can you do a transportation solution? If you can show a choice or a range of projects, that's also very helpful. Because don't forget, unlike Luciano and my time, most companies today are redefining themselves as mobility solution providers.
Yes, definitely.
They're not automotive companies anymore, right? They're mobility solution providers now.
Services.
Yeah, services. So mobility solution provider means, and believe me, many of them in the company itself don't know what that means and how to get to that point. They all want to, but they don't know how to get to. So they will look at the design team to find the solutions. So what is the
scenarios?
Last mile mobility, interchanging of personal versus private versus public transport. What does that interface look like? He comes from a pod and he goes into a bus. Does that meet? So think of the solutions for the problems of the future. And that's where I think a company or that hook that Luciano was talking about, that could be the hook. That look, today I'm thinking as a company, we are going to be a mobility solution provider, which means we have to do more than just, cars. We have to do pods, we have to do three-wheelers, we have to do something that maybe goes on a rail. So if you can show the vision of the vision of what that future looks like, and then you design every object in that vision, that's when you have a really good chance of being noticed over someone who's just sent 25 sports car sketches. The Ferrari of the future, the Aston of the future. You believe me, you will find thousands of those. People with their eyes closed will draw that. But have some really cool, creative micro solutions, and which shows a range of your talent. You can do a scooter, you can do a pod, you can do a car, you can do like I said, a public mobility object. That would be something that would excite many, many people. Because believe me, many companies are asking themselves this question: how do we become mobility solution providers? And many of them don't know the answer. So, if you can work around that and present your portfolio as a story of yourself and the way you think and how you design, taste, very important. These are some aspects that I would look at.
Okay, cool. I think you guys that you got there are a lot of questions, of course, but some of them are a little bit off topic, so we might look at them again. If you agree, Pratap, I would just go and search for some of those comments.
Yeah, please.
And then we just try to get. I read, and then you can. Kavish Singh that it's a very aficionados. Can we see emotional or more about technology in future of automobile, or expose technology that affect proportion of a car?
Wow. So I don't think I fully understood the question, but I think if I understand correctly, will technology take away some of the emotion?
Yeah, or vice versa, yeah.
Or vice versa. I personally don't think so. I think you can fall in love with, in fact, look, industrial design is a story about technology at the end of the day. Industrial design as a profession started when there was technology to present to the consumer in a certain way. So technology is always the backbone of what we do. How we present it in a human form, in an emotional form, is exactly what a designer does. So it's a good question, and I think emotion and technology are linked, can be linked, and that's the job of a designer. And then, of course, proportions of the car has always reflected what is underneath, what we call the package. It reflects that, and now that you're taking away the engine, you're freeing up a lot of place. The battery and motor layouts free up a lot of space in a car. You can get a car with a lot smaller footprint with the internal space of cars 2 or 3 segments above. I mean, if you look at what Volkswagen and others, even Renault, have been doing, the wheels and the corners, you really free up the space in a car. So in a small footprint, you can get a large cabin actually. So very much, technology will affect the proportion of the car, as it always has, and it should, I feel.
Yes, of course. We have to take advantage of technology, and the same thing like for Photoshop. We don't have to be slave with it, but we have to control it and take advantage for our own good purposes to make a functional and beautiful cars.
Yeah.
Now we have Roger that is asking a question that other people ask me often. Do car designers in a teamwork or different part of they draw individually and then they mix parts of their designs to make a project?
Okay, so I think in a project, you have many phases, and like we said, first is the proportion phase. So we explore a lot of different proportions for a particular project. Then the designers will sketch their version of that car. So if it's a 3-box car, you're not going to draw a monovolume. You have to start zooming down. And we explore that, and then we start getting into details. And sometimes, and many times, it happens that in a presentation, the management will prefer the front of one car and the rear of another. It's the job, of course, of the design director to guide the management in a certain way. And design director, that's what it means. The director gives direction. And I always feel that everything that I present to the management is something I like myself to begin with, so that whatever option is chosen, it's at least something I like, rather than everything that's been produced and, then someone says, oh, I like B, and someone says, I like C dash. And so, yes, there is sometimes a mix and match. But if you as a design director have explained the theme to the designers well, sometimes that mix and match can work. And then, of course, you go to the component level. Like I said, a team of designers could do the lighting, the components, the gear knobs, the steering wheel, the switch bank. There it gets into much more individual, elements as well, but all in a theme. So this is where, like I said, the studio director or the chief designer, their role is very important in holding it all together.
All together, yeah. Give the right indications.
Yes. So
there is also no, scusa.
No. So that's it. So yes, sometimes it's individual, Roger, and sometimes you come together as a team to work on the same sort of final
Exactly, in the
product.
second
Sorry.
step. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Lucha.
Yeah, no, what I want to say is that often we don't talk about modeling, and it's also my fault. But the question has been coming, I've read it already several times, the importance of clay modeling. And people ask this,
Ooh,
but what
yes.
about clay modeling? You know, clay modeling or modeling also in alias is extremely important in any car design team.
Yes. Yes. Oh God, yeah. A lot of people ask this question that of course, clay modeling will disappear, right? I mean, I can
No,
tell you, in the 18 months of the pandemic, we could do everything from home except the clay modeling, and the clay modeling is what kept our studios open, if I'm honest. Because that is really the heart of car design. A lot of people think that a clay model is a 3D printout of the design. No, a clay model is actually where you design the car, where you
the
find the car.
artistic
Yes,
implementation
yes.
of
You
the art
actually
of making
find the
design.
car. You find the car in a clay, and I can tell you something, Luciano. You'll know, and some of the other guys. A good clay modeling team can actually help some very bad
It's
designers.
true. It's true. It is
Sometimes,
true. I
yeah,
confirm.
because sometimes there's only so much you can resolve on 2D paper, and you take the sketch to the modeler. They will help you find that that let's say artistic solution in a real clay. So believe me, clay modelers are some of the most undersung, or let's say least talked about people in the automotive industry, unfortunately. But they really help designers find the voice. I can't imagine a future without clay modeling in automotive design. I
No,
can't.
me neither. Me neither. First
Maybe
of all, I
someone
always
can.
enjoyed.
Maybe someone can. But
No, 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 no.
for me to not be able to touch something in
You have
clay,
to
to
also
run
get
your
to
hands
touch it,
over.
to feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, to feel it, to see it in the sun, to see it inside the studio in different
Yeah.
lighting conditions. I think nothing beats that. We've tried
I
everything.
remember when I
We've
was
tried
in school.
virtual, and all of that is fine. And I'm not saying that there's no place for it. There's a place for both. You have to go digital and physical, and digital and physical. The
Yeah, it is
problem,
an alternance that
yeah,
helps
yeah.
the
The
system
problem,
to go faster, but
yes,
keeping the high quality,
yes. The,
preserving.
the problem happens when people think that only there's one solution. That's
Yeah,
where the problems happen. Some people think only clay. Some people think only
no.
digital. I think that blend and that balance, when studios find that blend and balance, I think you have the right path. So like I said, Luciano and I are from another era. I hope I never see a.
Yeah, but we are still young, huh?
Hey, yeah, that's true. I hope I never see a day without clay models. I really do, because it's one of the most enjoyable part of a
Yes,
designer's
agree.
job. I mean, someone was asking me to explain my day or describe my day or whatever,
Yeah,
but that part of the day where you go down to the clay studio and you see the clay modelers working, and the designers are putting tape, and you can run your hands over a surface.
yeah.
Nothing beats that part of the day.
And
So
there is one thing that my teacher, Joe Ferrer, that is not with us anymore since many years. But anyway, great man that made the clay model of the original Ford Mustang when he was young. In school, he said, I want, with his cigarette always here, he said, I want you to close your eyes, put your hands on top of the hood of your car, go over the side, and tell me what you see, but with your eyes closed.
yeah.
And that was a magic moment to understand the importance of clay modeling, modifying, retouching, and have that feeling. It comes from here, it goes through here, say, that's the right surface.
Yeah, and Luciano, you're right. When the surface is right, it's right.
Yeah.
And I remember in Piaggio, when I first started, getting into models. From the sketch, we would do a side view sketch, and we would work with modelers. In those days, there was no clay. In Italy, in fact, a lot of
I know.
early modeling used to be in gesso, in plaster,
See,
or in polyurethano. What we call
see, in foam.
foam. And again, foam is a bit like like drawing on Canson. If you take out foam, it's gone. You can't add it on easily. So I remember that when I used to ask the modeler, can we do this or can we do that to a surface, and he had the tool. He said, if my hand twists in a certain way, Pratap, the surface is not right. It's got to be natural. My hands have to feel natural on the surface, and then you will see that your surface will be beautiful. And I learned so much from just that interaction. Of course,
Yeah.
they can make any shape you want. But they would say, if my hand moves in a strange way when I'm making that surface, then there's something wrong with the surface. And it was stunning for me, and I will never forget those days. So
That's great. That's great. One more thing I ask you, and then we let you go. Anish, he's here, and he's with us since a long time. 16 years old, from India, and
okay,
his family agrees that he has to do bachelor. So we are in a
good,
good case.
good.
Anish asked, but what happens if I go out school and I don't find a job in car design with that portfolio? Which is the alternative?
Yeah.
Because there are many alternatives, as I explain also sometimes. But tell us, according to your experience, what a young man that doesn't get the first hot spot in car design, what else can he do with that portfolio in design?
No, I think Anish, if I'm honest, I didn't get a job straight away after I finished at RCA. I didn't get a job directly in an OEM. I actually started working in a small consultancy in Japan, in Nagoya. Because just the year I graduated, the situation of the economy wasn't great. The big companies weren't hiring. But yeah, I found a smaller company which used to do car design and product design work. I applied to them and I moved there. So don't get disappointed if you don't go directly into a OEM. Today there are many startups, by the way. Ola, then the scooter makers, Ather. There's so many, and globally. So there are many startups also which are an option for transportation and vehicle designers. Please don't discount them. Don't count them out. Sometimes they are very bold. They are the more bold, risk-taking, enterprising companies out there. So you should also watch out for that. That if you can, don't look at the big names, and it doesn't matter. Get into the profession, and then you always have time to move.
Exactly, because the reality, as I say always, is the first job is the most important because it's your gym. That's where you will exercise. You should stay
Yeah,
there between 2 and 5 years.
yeah,
And
that's
if, if even if they don't pay you well, make a sacrifice, because what you will learn during those 2 or 5 years will be incredible for what you will do next. The second
right.
step is very important, because there you can boost your career or you can kill your career. Therefore, it's very important what you will do as a second choice. But the first choice, just do it, just get it and learn.
And chase it and pursue it. No one's going to sort of come and give you a job on your lap. No, it doesn't happen most of the time. So look, today is a day of information. You can find so much information so easily. In our time, we had to wait for a physical letter to reach anywhere. You send an application, it took 2 weeks to go from India to Europe or US or Japan. Today, in a minute, your PDF is halfway around the world. So information is not the issue. So that shouldn't be your excuse that, I didn't know. You can dig and find, and there will be that job for you somewhere. And don't worry if it's not this ideal job. It never, in most cases, you'll see it won't be, but like Luciano says, it'll teach you so much that it's never a waste. Those 2, 3, 4 years.
Sometimes it comes later.
Exactly.
I always dreamed to being a super company like BMW. I started with Fiat. I was very happy because it was in my country. I came back. But I have to say the truth. Back then, Renault was in a better position. And when I got this great opportunity, how could I? And these things, you see, you want to do something now, and maybe it will happen later on. The most
Correct.
important thing that we always have to be engaged, be responsible, working hard. And Gleb was saying, so that means because I'm 18 years old now, should I start working on 3D modeling? No, Gleb, you
No.
understand. We want you to sketch.
Sketch. And one thing, Luciano, if you don't mind me,
Yeah.
I want to go back to one of the questions you asked earlier.
Yes, tell me.
In lots of the portfolios, which is different from our time, maybe in a lot of portfolios, I see that many students don't manage to draw the same car in every view. So
Yes.
suppose they've drawn 3 or 4 views, it's actually 3 different cars. The front view, the front 3/4, and the rear 3/4, and the side view are not the same car. So that's another discipline, I think, that has to be built. That when you are showing 3 views of one car, make sure that it's the same car in all the views. The feature lines, the proportion, or the relationship of things.
But that comes from the basics. When you learn the basics, then you understand. You take a side view, you turn it like that, you turn it like that, then you turn it like this, and after you can start saying, well, you know what? I start some perspective a little bit more complicated. Like the 2-point perspective, the 3-point perspective.
Yes.
But if you don't learn those 3-4 steps of perspective, which are easy, but force you to take the same lines and put them in perspective, the same graphics and put it in perspective, the same proportions in perspective, and then you look for the mistake. If you don't do that exercise, and the question is, and I'm sad to say it, how many schools do that today? Probably not too many.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Somebody wrote, so what if Mr. Gavade, what if I have done bachelor's degree in mechanical engineers and then do masters in car design? Will that be beneficial for me to get a job? That's what we were exactly saying not to do. Probably you got here a little bit late. But anyway, Ved, I really hope all of you that could not, for a reason or for another, to reach us since the beginning, to watch from the beginning this chat, okay? This beautiful live chat, okay? And I already tell you one thing. It's not going to be the last one, okay? It takes time to organize, but I am sure that I will have some other excellent guests like Pratap today, and very nice and very kind like Pratap. So it's something that we have to organize. But tomorrow morning, this video will be 100% on the channel, because as you know, during the night YouTube has to process the HD version, so in reality people cannot just go back after 4 hours, but 24 hours later it is on my homepage. So don't worry, guys, don't worry. Watch everything, watch it again from the beginning until the end, and I'm sure you will be very happy. Dear Pratap, I'm very happy that you are with me and with all of us. I hit my record with the people watching live. We are over 132. So thank you. I have the champagne ready to open. The spumante secco, prosecco. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.
And Luciano, again, I want to thank you for having me. Every opportunity I get and you get, as you know, we try to spread this message. And once this video goes on YouTube, do share the link with me. For people who may have missed it. And I'd like to wish all your students and followers a exciting future. And believe me, and I'm saying this with all honesty, there's car design, then there's the automotive world, and you can find a place in the automotive world if that's what you love. It doesn't always have to be car design. So like I said, if you're an engineer, be a brilliant engineer. Help designers to find new ways of opening doors, of new solutions of turning the seat. You can always contribute to the automotive world even without being a designer. So don't give up if you're already on that automotive engineering or mechanical engineering. Just focus it towards your passion, which is automotive. And if you do that, you will definitely find a role. Luciano will tell you studio engineering, for example, is a brilliant role which blends engineering and design.
Advanced engineering, where creativity, technical creativity, is very important to
It's a
realize
refinement.
all our ideas.
Yes, so that's a way to stay involved in automotive design. So don't be disheartened if you're already doing, sort of mechanical and masters in mechanical engineering or whatever it is. That's a very important message I just wanted to give in the end. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon again. Thank you, Luciano.
Thank you, Pratap. Now I'm gonna click the button and you will disappear and I will contact you later, okay?
Thank you.
Grazie mille. Thank you very much.
Ciao,
Take care.
ciao, ciao.
Okay, so were you happy? I hope that you guys ciao Pingo, thank you so much for the sharing and the time spent with the audience. Okay, I'm first of all I have to tell you that he's so kind, he's so nice. So it's even easier for me as a first live chat with somebody that is very important, to get such a nice and smooth and fluid, show. So this design talk has been great. I hope that all of you that are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. You're gonna enjoy this channel. Okay? For those that want to offer me a coffee, that's the moment, or a beer. You have the super stickers or my my link for the tip from down into the description from the PayPal. Okay? I hope that you were very, very happy about this. As I promised, we did it. We made it. And what can I tell? What else can I say? I'm very happy. I think that has been. Why, Debajit, you are disappointed? Tell me, write to me why. Hey, Erop, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, Tom, Luciano. Atul, my pleasure. My pleasure. Wish you an awesome adventure. Okay, cool. Thanks all for awesome experience. Aviral, you're welcome. My pleasure. That was cool. All right, Syed. I'm very happy that you liked it. Vivek. All right, cool. I'm very happy. Very happy for you. Thank you for this word. Cool. Manu, glab. Thanks. Norbert, ciao. Because I'm 24. Wait, Debajit, wait. I'm going for my master. But Debajit, we are not talking about you in this case. It's not your case, Debajit. Okay? Because I know you. So don't worry. The best YouTube channel. Oh, thank you, Yash. Thank you very much. Share the link, okay? Share the link. Thank you, Devanga. Thank you. Thank you, Suber. Okay, so what about the music? Did you like my funky section on the guitar? That was really nice. That was not bad at all. And I decided to change the music and put this one, which was done last week. So now, for those that are still with me here, don't forget, next Tuesday, we have your sketch, my feedback. So prepare your sketches, send me your sketches, okay? That I already start receiving few of them. Use the chat on Messenger or the chat on Instagram, okay? Now, Fazil, don't ask me this question. Fazil, if you want to know, there is a video I made. It's called Design and Money, okay? It's a design talk video here on this channel. Go and check it out, and you will have all the information you're looking for. Thanks, Pino. Grazie. My art channel, my art channel is just Luciano Bove on YouTube. Or on Instagram, it's luciano.bove, Bove's art. Bove's art. Okay? Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a good time. And now I give you back a little bit of music.